Shalom. This week we read Parashat Shlach, beginning in Bamidbar, chapter 13, the book of Numbers, and of course we read here the terrible tragedy of the spies, their mission that turned evil, their lack of faith, and the evil report that they delivered that brought about terrible repercussions for the people of Israel. Came back to the camp of Israel, and with the exception of Joshua and Caleb, they were like-minded in their program of a goal to depress the children of Israel and to dissuade them from attempting to enter into the land. So we have a question. If this was their entire goal, to convince their brethren that it was not worthwhile to try to come into the land and that it was impossible opposition for them, why did they open up their statement with a very positive thought? When we read in chapter 13, verse 27, "We came to the land where you sent us, and indeed it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it." And they showed beautiful, huge fruit of the land of Israel. They said, yes, we've come there and it indeed flows with milk and honey. And then, of course, they continued and they said, but the people are very strong that dwell in the land, the cities are fortified, very great, we saw giants, etc. Why did they open up with words of praise? And the different commentators that give different ideas. And actually, we can say that they didn't really mean these words as praise when they began by stating that the land of Israel flows with milk and honey and that it has this tremendous bounty and goodness. They were great people, the leaders of Israel, these spies, and whatever psychological or spiritual process they underwent and whatever they were dealing with as far as their own challenge to be faithful to God and to have that level of faith to understand that He would protect them. Whatever failure that's all about. Just analyzing here what it was that they said, they were great people. And they thought that the land of Israel was the worst place for the people of Israel to go into, and that it would not be conducive to spiritual growth and to the continuation of their odyssey, the odyssey of the people of Israel in their knowledge of Torah, their quest for union with God. And specifically, the reason that they felt this way was because the land was flowing with milk and honey, meaning this land seemed to demonstrate an extraordinary disposition towards pleasure and desire. This certain type of exuding, a certain type of raw, powerful physicality seemed to be inherent in this land, flowing with, that really implies something even unnatural, an unnatural state of bounty. And of course, that's why the fruit is so unusually good, they were trying to say by bringing it. And that's really what they meant. When they said the people there are too strong, they really meant that the force of evil there is too strong because there's so much goodness there. And of course, that's why Amalek is there. It feeds off of this goodness. In short, the spies felt that if Israel were to enter into there, they would not be able to stand up to the power of temptation, this certain kind of physical overwhelming abundance. And they felt that if the people of Israel who had been in Egypt had barely been able to withstand the temptations there of evil and lust and physicality, and there they were from a standpoint of poverty, if they come into the land with great bounty and abundance, they would not be able to live the type of spiritual life and connection to what they thought was godliness that they felt was proper and fitting for the Jewish people. And therefore the spies made this unilateral decision, better off having the people stay in the desert where their spiritual growth and safety and security will be guaranteed. But of course, they were, sadly, totally mistaken. And Moses himself paid no attention to this claim of theirs because he realized that the whole point of creation, the whole purpose of the world is that God desired to have a dwelling place here in this world. And creation is founded on placing the earth's physical pleasures and everything that it has to offer, all of its bounty, at the resources of man. And if man will be victorious in enjoying all that the world has to offer, but yet controlling himself so that he has his boundaries, then he can successfully utilize everything that the world has to offer, break his own innate physical nature, and basically succeed in creating a dwelling place for God here on earth through this tightrope that he's walking and by subjugating his physical nature and working on his spiritual side. Of course, this is something that the Torah teaches us in another place. This is the mistake that the Nazirite makes when he makes his vow of abstention from wine. He thinks that in order to be spiritual and attached to God, he must cut himself off from what this world has to offer, which is not really what the Torah is teaching us. And this is really the answer to the spies who said that Israel shouldn't enter the land because they would fall victims, God forbid, to their own desires and would not succeed in withstanding the powers that lay lurking there in the land of Israel. The purpose of creation, which is actually symbolized by and personified by the land of Israel, the purpose of creation is to allow a person to learn mastery over his own desires, to understand that the pleasures of this world were created so that we would be able to enjoy this world and yet serve God, not to lose control over our own divine image. And by learning this self-control, we break the forces of evil within ourselves and within the entire world, and we're able to elevate the entire world as well. And this truly is the purpose of creation.